Hello friends, I am Laneha Jinsu. Welcome to my channel that is all about enhancing what you have. Today I am going to share another part of ghost stories that have been sent by you or sent by my friends that have been their real experiences. Okay, so let's get started. Oh yes, before we start, don't forget to like, comment and share, and don't forget to share your family or friends paranormal experiences on my Instagram, which is lenehajunsu_. I will wait for you. Let's get started. I will be reading the stories from my phone, so I will be looking down. Okay, so this first story is by my friend Christine Trang. Now, this is not a story, but this is about a hotel. So that's how it goes. She shared it in my ghost group on Facebook. So I'm just going to read it as it is. This is the haunted Tuan Q Plaza in Vietnam. It was first built in 1994 and finished in 1998. Workers died by accident while building this. However, the contractors did not compensate the families properly. It is said that the enraged workers then put a spell on the site. There are many other stories surrounding this plaza. There was a rumor that a male shot and killed his girlfriend at a restaurant in this plaza and then killed himself. This couple is said to still be around and usually grown. There's another story where a Chinese lady wearing a cheongsam is said to be wandering around floating. Many shop owners said that they dreamed of fires and ghosts teasing them every night when they had shops there. A lot of these owners became ill and stressed every day. It was completely deserted until 2004. A group of investors decided to renovate and remodel this property. They reopened the shopping mall part of the plaza, but the apartments remain closed to the public and vacant. Currently, the Vietnamese government has turned TK Plaza into a COVID-19 field hospital. There are many stories of hotels, and I strongly believe, it's scary. So I took the story from the Star, and the story is there are stories for Hungry Ghost Festival special, and this is called Haunting of a Bungalow. The year was 1985. We, Lynette and her boyfriend, Chung from Petaling Jaya, Bernard and his girlfriend Mary from Kuala Lumpur, Zhao, the group leader, and his girlfriend Chung, and yours truly found a delightful bungalow through a mutual friend to settle for an overnight retreat at Maxwell Hill in Taiping. I'm sorry if I'm taking the names wrongly. English is not my first language, but still sorry. We traveled from Ipoh in 2 cars. First, we tasted food from different hawkers, then went sightseeing. By 4 p.m., we were on our way up the winding road by a rented jeep and driver. A woman was waiting for us in front of a wooden bungalow. She introduced herself as the homestay agent. While she talked, she took out a bunch of keys and unlocked several padlocks. As soon as she opened the double doors of the front house, I was astonished by the spaciousness of the living hall. The woman took her time showing us the 4 bedrooms, of which 1 bedroom did not have any attached bathroom. After drawing lots, unfortunately, I got the bedroom without the bathroom. Dinner was served at 8 p.m. by a pre-hired cook. The agent and the cook left the bungalow after 10 p.m. All of us were sitting comfortably in several sofas, wearing thick sweaters or jackets, as there wasn't any heater or fireplace in the house. As we relaxed, we took turns telling stories. The wind had been howling outside the house because it was made of wood. The windows rattled noisily. Although the porch lights were switched on, the garden looked dark and eerie. It started with Chung telling us about his university days in England and his share of adventures staying in haunted rooms. Yao joined in, telling us about some supernatural phenomenology he had come across while studying in New Zealand. I had a suspicious feeling that the men were trying to scare the girls because they had begun to sit closer to them. Then Bernard joked and suggested that the bungalow we were staying at could have been haunted because of its cheaper fees. True, I paid less than RM30 for my room plus a handsome dinner. The time flew by so quickly that I was ready for bed when the midnight hour struck. By the time I took my toiletry bag from my room to the outside bathroom with a basin near the kitchen, the lights in the other three bedrooms were darkened. After cleaning myself, I unlocked the bathroom door. A moment later, I heard a laughter. This is scary. I wondered which bedroom the laughter was coming from, but from where I was standing, there wasn't any light shining from under the other bedroom's doors. I shivered. The wooden windows rattled again, and the winds howling seemed louder with the house occupants asleep, I thought. The haunted stories, still fresh on my mind, created an imaginary illusion in my mind. I had a hard time shaking it off. Then I heard a loud, frightening noise near me. It sounded like a male half laughing, half choking. I got goose pimples on my arms and felt my heart beating rapidly. Suddenly I remembered I had a torchlight in my toiletry bag. I unzipped it and found it at the bottom of the bag. The torchlight was small, but it had a very bright light. I left the bathroom light on and quickly went inside my very cold bed. Before long, I was able to sleep, and the next thing I knew, it was already morning. We ate some biscuits and drank cups of hot Milo for a light breakfast before we packed up and piled our bags at the front door. While waiting for the agent's arrival, my girlfriend Chung said she thought she heard somebody laughing in the middle of the night before she fell asleep. And Lynette said the pranksters were the guys again. Mary didn't hear anything, and the men swore they were already fast asleep. When my friends asked me if I had heard anything in the night, I explained what I went through. When the agent appeared, I repeated my experience. She apologized. Her explanation about the tragedy that befell the previous house owner's family gave us an insight that what the folklore said about the bungalow being haunted could be true. We went down Maxwell Hill more sober and knowledgeable. However, what I went through the night before was somewhat forgotten as we drove further and further away from Taiping. Imagine like you're away from your home at a haunted place. Scary. So this next story is called Encounter with a Female Energy. Come outside the gate with me, Ming. Keanu invited, and you might discover something out of this world, as they say. This was classic Keanu, for he had developed what the Chinese call the third eye. The look on his face suggested he held a secret he could hardly contain, but we had known each other since primary school. So I seized his bait with an okay before he changed his mind. Clutching a handful of joss paper and a packet of incense sticks, plus a box of Superman brand matches, he offered no other hint, and we went out of his father's house, where he had lived since his unfortunate foray into an overseas education. It's not right to do this on my father's property, Keanu continued, laying out gold and silver on the grass verge and thrusting the joss sticks into the receptive sod. He lit the traditional Chinese offerings to the departed, muttered an incantation that I did not understand, and asked, Anything, Ming? No, nothing unusual. I replied, but I was in denial, for something strange had happened that morning that I struggled to understand 40 years after. Once we got back to his room, I blurted out, I had a rather odd experience, Key. A female energy entered my body from the left and exited the same way within a few seconds. She had a willful persona, and knowing what you did a few minutes ago, was it a ghost or a spirit? Indeed she was, he smiled, and I made contact with her on one of my design projects. Some of the workers on the site claimed to have seen her, dressed in red. She revealed that she had killed herself in frustration when her family threatened to disown her if she went ahead with her outlandish plans to make a lot of money in the shortest time possible. Her red cloth, seen in spirit form, is said to symbolize an unfortunate death. The skeptical reader would say that my imagination had created the vivid encounter, and some might even challenge, how did you know the apparition was female? That's a fair comment, but I have since uncovered clairsentient aspects of my makeup or a sensitivity to atmosphere, as someone I met years later told me. For instance, I once worked with two foreign professionals, an English architect and a Catholic priest from Australia, and both were cloaked in an aura of kindliness or kindliness. I don't know. I have also picked up similar auras from casual meetings with strangers. Then there's that large invisible bubble of spiritual oneness, for want of a better word, that enveloped commuters and me while we sat waiting in a mini bus. That realization, not to be mistaken for feelings, arose again when I visited a mall of shoppers, as if the phenomena wanted to make a point. I've also felt a curious depression that was definitely not mine, but which I seemed to absorb upon greeting and shaking hands with friends who did not otherwise reveal their feelings. I even picked up a depressed mood upon sitting on a plastic chair at an eatery. It seemed that a sheet of industrial output could hold emotional energy after the diner had left. But to get back to my unusual friend, he was very good with his hands and made model planes with a high quality of finish that I could only gawk at. He even developed a formula that referred to the current time and date, forecasting the 6 lines of the Venerable I Ching. I leave your readers with a cautionary tale of his addiction to cigarettes that likely began with his misadventures overseas. He managed with great discomfort give it up cold turkey, for he had agreed to teach a course in design. Now, Keanu was Buddhist and had set up an altar dedicated to Kuan Yin in his bedroom when other people would have placed it in a hallway. Whenever he has home, he would invariably light some incense, creating smoke that caused paint to peel off the ceiling over the years. And he may even have been inhaling the smoke as he slept. The irony, as his 2 younger brothers, Arnold and Leonardo, remarked, was that Keanu never gave up smoking at all, and must have contracted the disease that led him to his premature death at 57. It's been 18 years since he passed on after a short illness, and I have occasional dreams of meeting him. Meanwhile, these 2 schoolmates of mine who also gave up the weed at around the same time in the 90s remain in the best of health today. So thank you so much guys for watching this video till the very end. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will come back again with another part. Okay, bye bye.